on CBS Sports Radio. My brother from another mother. It is the one, the only Bart Winkler. Bart, how are you this afternoon?
Oh, my show got played over there?
I mean, yeah, you filled in for Gelby, and we carry Zach Gelb here on this station. So, yeah.
How about that? What's up, Rum Dog?
Folks probably heard your voice here in Sactown and on Sactown Sports 1140. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I love Sactown Sports 1140. It's my favorite. It's my favorite station.
I know you do, buddy. I know you do. Now, last time we talked, because you went through your hard feelings with Aaron Rodgers over the course of all the drama. Last time we talked, though, he signed the contract. You were ready to bury the hatchet, and all was good between Bart Winkler and Aaron Rodgers. Are you still there? Is it still nothing but good times and ayahuasca trips with you and A-Rod?
I mean, I don't know, what this guy thinks he is doing. Everything he does is a meme and a joke. He's got to be in on it, but I don't care about any of it.
Good.
I just care about football right now. And that's why the offseason has sucked the last few years covering the Packers, because it's like we're so desperate for Packers content that it becomes, well, who did Rodgers go to the movies with? It's like all this stupid stuff. We don't care. But now we get the football, and I am very excited as a passionate Packer fan / owner, as you knew that was coming. I'm very excited for a few reasons. I'm very excited because this is an Aaron Rodgers-led football team. I'm excited that the special teams looks to have more focus, so they can only be better from what they were a year ago. I'm excited for this defense. I think this is going to be an historically good defense in Green Bay. The concerns, obviously they lost Davonte Adams. I think that's the big thing you look at when you're just kind of taking a bird's eye view of everything going on with each team. That's not as big of a concern to me as is the health of the offensive line. They're going to start a lot of young guys on this offensive line until Elton Jenkins comes back on the right side, and we still don't know if David Bakhtiari is coming back or when he's coming back or when he comes back, what he's going to look like. This is a guy that got injured on New Year's Eve of 2020, missed the playoffs, missed the game against the Buccaneers, then missed all of the 2021 season except for half of a Week 17-18 game against Detroit, and now is still on the PUP list. And what worries me about Bakhtiari is it was an ACL injury, and he said, oh, the ACLs, we're past that. It's just the other stuff. Well, I don't, when you are in a medical journal and looking for the other
stuff, is that not in there?
That's usually never good. So I'm very concerned about that. I think the team as a whole is going to be very good. The concern for me is the offensive line.
And I don't want to say I told you so, and I certainly wouldn't when it comes to an injury. And you know how much I love David Bakhtiari. He was a weekly guest on one of the shows I hosted out there in Milwaukee. But I did say, during mini camps and OTAs, when LaFleur was trying to play it down, I said, man, this guy is still not playing football. And it seems like, Bart, that they've been trying to, and this is what football teams do. I don't hold it against the Packers or anybody else. They've been downplaying this for a long time, but it's to the point now where it can't be downplayed anymore, can it?
I don't think so. The Packers are a team, and, David Bakhtiari is so good, and he is the best left tackle in the league when healthy. He's a future Hall of Famer, at least that's what we would say up until the point of the injury. The problem for the Packers is they really need this one to work out, because they typically do not give offensive linemen that third massive contract. And so some of the names that I'll throw out, maybe you know them, maybe you guys don't, but like Josh Sitton and TJ Lang and Brian Bulaga, these were guys that were drafted by the Packers, played very well, got another contract, played very well, and then it looked like they were primed for another contract. And every time the Packers said, there's a lot of wear and tear on those legs, you're getting into your 30s, this is not something that we do. It's a lot of money. It's a big, big risk. And every time they've been proven right, because the production of those guys has not been what it was, and there's been some injuries. And so now they finally give a guy a third deal, and they give him a massive deal, which he deserved. But now it's just the fact that he hasn't played really on this contract. So it is a big concern. They want to downplay it. You never want to come out and say, oh, my God, we don't think this guy's ever going to play again. But the timetable keeps getting pushed back further and back further. And you can look at some of these games in the playoffs and say, there's a million things that happen in every game, but you can say, well, if the Packers would have had their all-pro left tackle, would they have beaten Tampa Bay 2 years ago? Would they have been able to beat the Niners? Would that have been enough to get them over the edge in the close games? You're potentially looking at 2 Super Bowl appearances you missed out on because you're missing this one guy, and it is a big concern. So they drafted some guys. Hopefully there's some depth there. But again, the big concern for me, and I think a lot of people in Packerland, is when is the offensive line going to be healthy? If the offensive line is going to be healthy.
What has been the talk among or about those offensive linemen, or not the offensive line, the wide receivers with, as you mentioned, the departure of Davonte Adams? From my days at the Fan, and we're talking with Bart Winkler of the Fan in Milwaukee, I still follow a lot of people who talk and care about the Packers on the Twitters and whatnot. This Romeo, is it Dobbs or Dubs? He seems to be.
The latest Packers media guide says Dobbs. So
okay.
It's Doubs, but it's pronounced Dobbs.
There's a lot of chatter about that dude.
Well, he's making big plays, and we'll see if he gets the opportunity to do so tonight against the 49ers. But every time that there is an opportunity for him to go out there, whether it's a training camp practice or the Packers family night scrimmage, he makes a big play. And if you see him for the first time, there's some very impressive skill sets that this guy has. He dropped a little bit in the draft. He was a 4th round pick out of Nevada. So he dropped a little bit, whether it's because they didn't have enough tape on him or the system they ran. But this guy could end up being someone to keep an eye on. Now, again, we don't know much about him. We haven't seen him in game speed. Tonight will be different. But they drafted Christian Watson with pick number 34, rather. And that was the guy we're all going to look at. And now it's this Romeo Dobbs that's kind of taking the attention. 1, he's been playing well. 2, Christian Watson really hasn't played yet, and I don't expect him to play tonight. So they're going to need to get production. Obviously, Davonte Adams had 10 targets a game last year, 160-some targets on the season. So they're going to need someone to replace that production. I think that they'll be able to do that. I'm really not too concerned about who they're going to throw the ball to with Aaron Rodgers back there. I think that A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones out of the backfield are great pass catchers. I think that once Robert Tonyan comes back at tight end, that will be a key weapon. I think that Alan Lazard is going to have an improvement of a season. So you are missing Davonte Adams. That is a major blow, but maybe there was a tendency to focus a little too much on him, and maybe spreading the ball around by committee will be a better option for this team. This team, they have been so close so often, as you know, for so many years. And the last 5-6 years, they've had a number 1 bona fide receiver. I don't know what the adjustment is. Maybe the tweak is you don't focus on one guy in a playoff game the whole time. Maybe that gets them over the hump. Maybe it's something else. But I don't think that Davonte Adams being there means the Packers are no longer a Super Bowl contender. It's just a matter of which of these guys is going to step up.
I know we're going to see a heavy dose of Jordan Love tonight. Are they still trying to convince you guys out there that he's going to be the quarterback of the Packers someday?
Well, we got to see what happens with Jordan Love. We got to see how good he is. I think that if he is good, this opens up a whole bunch of scenarios for what they're going to do. 1st round pick a couple years ago, really odd that they picked him. Since they picked him, Rodgers won 2 MVPs. Rodgers is talking retirement, but I don't see retirement in sight for him. And so they could have a guy, a 1st round pick as quarterback. If they don't trade him, they could have him for 4 years. They drafted a backup quarterback in the 1st round, and then they're going to have to make a decision on that 5th-year option, and they're not paying $20 million in a 5th year for a backup quarterback while paying $45 million for your starter. You can't put $65 million in 2 guys at the quarterback position. It's going to be interesting, though, because the more that they have Love on this team, the more you're investing into this guy. So you're going to invest in this guy. It doesn't make sense to me, spend a 1st round pick on a guy, not spend a 1st round pick on someone that can actually help. Maybe that was what cost them a Super Bowl, not getting a T. Higgins or another lineman or another defender, whatever. Have them for 3-4 years and then trade him off for at best case, a 2nd or a 3rd. What was the whole point then? And then you spent 4 years developing him just to let him go to lose draft position. So right now he's the backup quarterback. I don't know if he balls out, if another team, calls him up and say, what will you give him? If Matt Stafford's not capable with this elbow. If one of these other guys go down somewhere else, I don't know if the Packers look to trade him because then we don't have a backup this year. I'm a wee guy. We're a wee show. But I don't know, man. At some point, I think he will be the backup quarter. I think he'll be the starting quarterback. But we're getting into, Rodgers sat for 3 years, but we might get into Steve Young's 6-year backup territory.
That doesn't happen anymore, though, especially with guys that were drafted in the first round. I don't see that happening. I wish we had more time to talk, Bart. Maybe we do it off the air sometime. You can catch him on the Fan weekday mornings, but also right here.
We're good.
Also right here on Sactown Sports 1140 when he fills in for Zach Gelb evenings on
Next
CBS.
Time I fill in for
Sports
Gelb,
Radio.
I'll have you on.
Oh, nice. Yeah, let's do that.
So the locals can enjoy a little more Rami, who they're still getting to know. You got a great one, Sactown. You got a great one with this kid.
Miss you, Bart. We'll talk again soon.
Miss you.
And he's one of my fans. Honestly, if you're a sports fan and just like angry tirades, Bart is one of the best follows on Twitter. He's at Winks Thinks if you want to follow Bart on Twitter. At 4:00, how dumb the quarterback conversation has gotten in America these days. But after this, boy, they actually did it. I didn't think they would.